and today we're gonna read The Magic Tree Has Merlin Missions, Christmas in Camelot. And today we're gonna start it at chapter 3 and I'm reading at chapter 6, okay? Because we're reading in 3 chapters. Now, are you ready for this one book with a lot of stories? And now, here we go. And first you can read The Magic Tree Has Merlin Missions, Christmas in Camelot. Chapter 3, The Night of the Round Table. A pair of the torches dimly lit in the draughty entrance hall of the castle. Shadows danced on the warm chapel throats. "Wait there," said Morgan. "I will tell the king of your arrival." She handed through the huge stone archway that led into the great hall. "Let's begin," Annie said to Jack. Jack pushed the glasses into place. He and Annie walked quietly over to a big arch and peered in. The ceiling of the great hall towered high above a stone floor. At the far end of the room, King Arthur and his knights were sitting around a huge round table. They all wore brown tunics. They had big shaggy hair and beards, and the names are covered in gold letters in the back of their chairs. "The Knights of the Round Table," whispered Jack. Morgan was talking to the King Arthur. Beside the king sat in the woman with pink gray robe. She had pink in the skin and brown curly hair. "Queen Jennifer," whispered Annie. Morgan laughed in the king, and Jack and Annie moved quickly back to the shadows. A moment later, Morgan appeared. "I told the king that 2 special friends of his had just arrived," she said. "Come with me." As they walked with Morgan through the great hall, Jack shivered. A huge room was draughty and damp. There was no fire in the fireplace. The stone floor was so cold that Jack could feel the chill through the sneakers. And they stopped near a round table. King Arthur stared at them with a piercing gray eyes. "Greetings from Frog Creek," Annie said to the king and queen. Annie bowed, and Jack bowed too, and Queen smiled, but King Arthur did not. "Your Majesty, you remember Jack and Annie," said Morgan. "You met them last summer in my library." "Indeed, I should never forget them," King Arthur said softly. "Greetings, Annie, greetings, Jack. How do you come to the Camelot in this bleak night?" "We came into the magic tree house," said Annie. A shadow crossed the king's face. He looked at Morgan. "No, your Majesty, I did not use my magic to bring them here," she said. "Perhaps a bit of a magic still lingers in the magic treehouse, and it traveled on its own." "What's going on?" Jack wondered. "Why does the King Arthur seem unhappy about the magic treehouse?" King Arthur looked at Jack and Annie. "However you have come, you're welcome in my kingdom," he said. He turned into the Queen. "Jennifer, there's also 2 friends who want to give me hope your courage in the time of need." Queen Jennifer smiled again, but there looked sad in her eyes. "I have heard so much about you," she said. "I've heard about it too," said Annie. "Allow me to present my knights," said King Arthur. "Sir Boris and Sir Kay and Sir Tristram." As the king named each knight, Jack and Annie nodded shyly. The knights nodded and them in return, and Jack waited to hear the name of Sir Lancelot, an almost famous and Camelot knight, but the king never said it. And finally, Sir Braver and Sir gown, King Arthur said. And the king then turned 3 empty chairs at the table. There were just one seat in the 3 who were lost to us now. He said, "Lost how?" wondered Jack. "You may sit there in the places, join in dinner." King Arthur said. "Thank you," said Annie, following Morgan around the table. Jack read the names covered in the blacks of 3 empty chairs: Sir Lancelot and Sir Greenland and Sir Percival. And Jack took his backpack and sat down in the Sir Lancelot's place. And as he sat in the tall, straight, and heavy woolen chair, Jack looked at the king, and his knights were scouted amidst of bones and circling from the heavy goblets. They eat without manners or delight, and Jack really wanted to take notes. He reached into his backpack under the table and pulled out his notebook and pencil, but before he could write the words, "Subtle boy bring more food," and Jack quickly put things away, but Boy said a greedy slab of a bit of a soggy piece of bread in front of him, and the food looked terrible. "Not much of a Christmas feast, huh?" said Annie in low voice, and Jack shook his head. Annie leaned his close to Morgan and whispered to King Arthur and couldn't hear. "What happened to the 3 lost knights?" she says. "After Mother's dark wizard cast in the spell, the king sought help from the magicians of the Camelot," Morgan said quickly, "and they told him he must send his knights in the quest of an older world or recapture our kingdom's joy." "What's the other word?" said Jack. "It's an accident as ancient lands beyond the age of the earth," said Morgan. "This place was going to all of the magic first began." "Wow," whispered Annie. "The king chosen the 3 bravest knights into the journey there," said Morgan. "When they did not journey there," said Morgan, "and when they did not come back, Arthur turned it against his magicians. He blamed it on magic all of the Camelot's wounds, and hence he was banned of a magic of any kind of kingdom forever." "But you are a magician," whispered Annie. "Did the king turn against you too?" "Arthur and I have a long friendship," said Morgan, "and he has allowed me to stay in the castle alone. I promise not to practice the art of magic ever again." And feeling of a dread crept over Jack. "So does that mean the magic triasis?" Morgan nodded. "Yes, banish it from the Camelot," she said, "and I'm afraid this will be your last journey, and the last time we see each other." Her eyes filled with tears. She looked away. "What? The last time we see each other forever?" said Annie. Before Morgan could answer, the wooden door swung open with a bang, and the wind rushed into the great hall. The torches and candles flamed brighter, and making a shadows in the leap wildly on Mars. Its sound of a bathhoops and built with a room, with a knight on a huge horse rode through the arched doorway. And the knight dressed up when a knight came on his shining helmet with a croc store on his back, and he was the horses who dressed in the green from his armor was covered with a head and a cloth that hung from his saddle. "Oh wow," breathed Annie, "the Christmas night, I think is the last time Jack and Nanny and Morgan see forever." So now Morgan and Jack and Nanny are very sad. Now chapter 4. Who will go? "I have some see Arthur the king," the Christmas knight said. His deep voice echoed from inside his helmet. and a red armor gleamed in the firelight, and the King Arthur stood up. He stared fiercely at the knight, but it spoke in a clean and steady voice. I am King Arthur. The king, he said. Who are you? I'm the knight who did not answer Arthur's question. So you're a legendary king led of the Camelot, said in a mocking voice. And these things might be famous knights of the Round Table. Yes, said King Arthur, and again I ask, who are you? The Christmas knight did not just answer the King Arthur's question. The spell with a dark wizard was robbed Camelot of its joy. The Christmas knight and the robbed on your man and your courage as well. You're their question of the courage, said the King Arthur with a raw, angry voice. Camelot is dry, said the Christmas knight boomed. There's no one journey to the other world to recapture this joy. One other recapture this joy. I had my stand a big and best knights on such a quest, the King Arthur said, and they never returned. Then send more, thundered the Christmas knight. No, shouted King Arthur, pounding his fist on the table. Never again I will feed the good man of the magic and monsters of the other world. And Jack felt full of fear. What's monsters? When you choose your fate, said the Christmas knight, if should you will send no one else into the other world, then all your kingdom was claimed in the time-old beauty, music, wonder, and night, all in the Camelot was even been or could not be, will be the lost, forgotten forever. No, shouted Annie. Shh, Annie, said Jack. The Christmas knight will turn up the lights in the table. Who will go? He boomed. We will, shouted Annie. We will? Said Jack. Yes, we'll go in the quest, Annie yelled, and she jumped up. No, cried Morgan Lively. Never, said King Arthur. Annie, said Jack. He leaped up from his chair and grappled to grab her. Yes, thundered the Christmas knight. He pointed to a red globe and had Annie and Jack. You youngest of all, this too they will go. You're mocking us, King Arthur shouted. They will go, boomed the knight. He's the words of an orchard, brighter to his hole. Oh no, thought Jack. Yes, said Annie, pulled Jack toward the Christmas knight. And King Arthur turned into the man. Stop them, a supple knight stirred into the rush toward Jack and Annie. The Christmas knight raised it in the globe of hand high in the air. And in an instant, the room felt deathly quiet, and everyone was around the table was still as the statue. And the King Arthur looked at a silhouette of the furious king, and the Queen Guinevere was looked like the stay-worried queen. And the knights of the Round Table looked like the statues of a pharaoh's knights, and the Morgan Lively looked at a statue of the crying friend, and her mouth was open as if she was calling out Jack and Annie, but no sound came from her lips. No sound at all. Now chapter 5, the romance of the Christmas night. Morgan, said Annie. Annie ran to the table. He touched Morgan's cheek and then quickly pulled her hand. She's cold. She has cold as ice, said Annie. Tears filled her eyes. And Annie turned into the Christmas knight in the furry. What did you do to Morgan? She said. Bring her back. No, do not fear, said the Christmas knight, and his voice was softer and kinder. And she will come back to life after you complete your quest. What actually is the quest? Said Jack. You must journey our other world, said the Christmas knight, and you will fill this in our calendar. And the calendar must fill with other of the memory imagination. You just have to bring the cup of the water to the camlet. If you fail, the camlet will never back to our life. Never. How do you do? Oh, Dad, asked Annie, wiping her eyes. Remember this 3 reminds, said the Christmas knight. Wait, let me write them down, said Jack. His hands trembled, and as he pulled out his notebook and pencil, and he looked at the Christmas knight. Okay, I'm ready, he said, gripping his pencil, made Jack feel stronger, and the knight voice rang from inside helmet. Beyond the iron gate, the keepers of the carol made. Jack quickly wrote in the knight's words. Okay, what's next? He said. The Christmas knight went on. For the gifts you need for the first of me, and a cup of the compass, and finally a key. Compass key? Got it, said Jack. And the Christmas night voice boomed again. If you're servant to complete your quest, your secret door lies into the west. And Jack copied down at the last rhyme and looked at the knight. Anything else? He said without a word. The knight pulled his red cloak, and he dropped it on the floor and fell silently into a heap at the last Jack and Annie's feet. The Christmas knight snapped the horse with reins and galloped out from the great hall. Now, chapter 6, A White Comet, and tomorrow we start with chapter 6 and the end of reading the stories. Or not, or maybe I will the end of reading in chapter 9, okay? And now, did you have fun? Here is English Country. Come back with this book, but not this story, because it might be a new chapter to read. Now, bye-bye everyone, and please thumbs up my YouTube. Bye-bye everybody.